Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Di sini saya akan memaparkan materi mengenai metabolisme asam amino dan kepada yang terhormat Bapak APT Surya Amal M Farm selaku dosen mata kuliah biokimia. Yang beranggotakan yaitu saya sendiri, Elsa Suciokviamida dengan NIM 22416248201109 dan teman saya yaitu Gifari Izi Humaidi dengan NIM 22416248201130. Di sini saya akan menjelaskan mengenai apa itu asam amino. Asam amino adalah salah satu senyawa yang ada di dalam tubuh makhluk hidup yang diantaranya terdapat di hewan dan manusia, yang berguna sebagai sumber utama pembentukan protein di dalam tubuh. Selanjutnya ada karakteristik asam amino. Asam amino merupakan monomer yang membentuk protein. Setiap asam amino memiliki struktur yang sama, terdiri dari atom karbon pusat, dikenal dengan karbon alfa terikat pada gugus amino NH2, gugus karboksil COOH, dan atom hidrogen. Sekitar 75% asam amino digunakan untuk sintesis protein. Asam amino dapat diperoleh dari protein yang dimakan. Asam amino juga dibutuhkan untuk kebutuhan nitrogen. Yang pertama, struktur basa nitrogen, DNA dan RNA. Yang kedua, struktur lain yang serupa seperti mioglobin, hemoglobin, sitokrom, enzim, dan lain-lain. Yang ketiga, asetilkolin dan neurotransmitter lainnya. Yang keempat, hormon dan fosfolipid. Asam amino juga dapat digunakan untuk sumber energi jika nitrogen dilepas. Asam amino dibagi menjadi dua, yaitu esensial dan non-esensial. Asam amino esensial adalah asam amino yang tidak dapat disintesis oleh tubuh sehingga harus diperoleh dari makanan yang dikonsumsi. Asam amino non-esensial adalah asam amino yang dapat disintesis oleh tubuh. Sedangkan asam amino esensial kondisional adalah asam amino yang tidak dapat disintesis oleh tubuh karena pada keadaan sakit atau kurangnya prekursor. Jenis-jenis asam amino. Ada asam amino esensial. Ada histidin, isoleusin, leusin, lisin, metionin, fenilalanin, treonin, triptofan, dan valin. Asam amino non-esensial. Ada alanin, arginin, asparagin, asam aspartat, sistein, asam glutamik, glutamin, glisin, prolin, serin, dan tirosin. Selanjutnya, jalur metabolik utama dari asam amino. Yang pertama, produksi asam amino dari pembongkaran protein tubuh, digesti protein diet, serta sintesis dalam amino di hati. Yang kedua, pengambilan nitrogen dari asam amino. Sedangkan yang ketiga adalah katabolisme asam amino menjadi energi melalui siklus asam serta siklus urea sebagai proses pengolahan hasil sampingan pemecahan asam amino. Yang keempat adalah sintesis protein dari asam-asam amino. Ada sintesis asam amino, yaitu serangkaian proses biokimia melalui jalur metabolisme di mana asam amino diproduksi di dalam tubuh. Biosintesis berguna dalam memproduksi zat yang bermanfaat untuk kehidupan sel dan tubuh. Mengenai katabolisme asam amino, asam-asam amino tidak dapat disimpan oleh tubuh. Jika jumlah asam amino ini berlebihan atau terjadi kekurangan sumber energi lain seperti karbohidrat dan protein, tubuh akan menggunakan asam amino sebagai sumber energi. Tidak seperti karbohidrat dan lipid. Asam amino memerlukan pelepasan gugus amin. Gugus amin ini kemudian dibuang karena bersifat toksik bagi tubuh. Ada dua tahap pelepasan gugus amin dari asam amino. Yang pertama ada transminasi enzim. Aminotransferase memindahkan amin kepada alfa-ketoglutarat menghasilkan glutamat atau kepada oksaloasetat menghasilkan aspartat. Yang kedua ada deaminasi oksidatif. Pelepasan amin dari glutamat menghasilkan ion amonium. Baik, saya akan menyampaikan kesimpulan dari materi metabolisme asam amino. Asam amino adalah salah satu senyawa yang ada di dalam tubuh makhluk hidup sebagai sumber utama pembentukan protein di dalam tubuh. Asam amino terbagi menjadi dua, yaitu esensial dan non-esensial. Metabolisme asam amino dengan produksi asam amino, pengambilan nitrogen, kemudian katabolisme protein, kemudian sintesis protein. Mari kita tonton video berikut.
So, we are going to get an overview how protein is broken down to amino acids and how these amino acids are broken down to nitrogen and how it is excreted. So we know that in our stomach, in our intestine, with the help of several enzymes such as trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, pepsin, all of these things degrade proteins into the simplest form, which is amino acid. And the amino acid is absorbed in the intestinal epithelial cells, and then it moves into the blood, which is actually used to make muscle proteins or other aspects, right? But in this video, our focus is how protein breakdown occurs at a molecular level. So proteins are broken down into amino acid, that is the basic constituent of a protein. Now this amino acid is further broken down. The amine part of the amino acid generates ammonia, which is further excreted as urea, whereas the carbon skeleton is recycled and used in several biosynthetic pathways such as TCA cycle. Now in this video, we'll look at the overview of an amino acid catabolism. So amino acid catabolism, the hub of amino acid catabolism is the liver. So imagine there are 4 amino acids. So each of these amino acids would donate their amine group to a substance, which is ultimately glutamate. So it would generate glutamate. From glutamate, ammonia would be generated, and alpha ketoglutarate would be a side product of it. Now this ammonia is extremely harmful and toxic. So ammonia would be converted into a less harmful form, which is actually urea. And urea is the form which is excreted, right? Now the process of conversion of several amino acids to glutamate is known as transamination, where these amino acids donate their amine group to glutamate. Now from glutamate, the process of generation of ammonia is known as deamination, and lastly the urea cycle generates urea from ammonia. So this is the overall workflow of amino acid catabolism. So let's look into this process in bit more details. So the first step is nothing but breaking down of amino acid into glutamate, or funneling it into glutamate, and all happens inside the liver hepatocytes. So in the liver hepatocytes, any amino acid gets converted into a keto acid, and this process is known as transamination, or this is just a amine group transfer reaction. So the amine group is transferred to what moiety? So the amine group is transferred with the help of aminotransferases, and the amine group acceptor is nothing but alpha ketogluteric acid. It accepts the amine group from the amino acid and itself get converted to glutamate. So from different kind of amino acid, we get the amine group funneled in form of glutamate. And the key enzyme here is the aminotransferase. The aminotransferase plays an important role in transamination, and the key prosthetic group here is pyridoxal phosphate. So PLP is very important for the functionality of the aminotransferases. Now let's talk about the next step. We have glutamate, and the amine group is now in format of the glutamate. This amine group would be released from the glutamate by the help of glutamate dehydrogenase enzyme. This glutamate dehydrogenase enzyme converts glutamate into a alpha aminoglutarate intermediate, from which it gets converted to alpha ketogluteric acid. Ultimately, the ammonia is released. But the problem is this ammonia is highly toxic, it is highly soluble in the blood, so if it is not excreted in proper method, then it would generate huge problem, and it can even generate toxicity in the brain. So this ammonia has to be processed in some way which is less harmful, and it would be excreted, and that excretion format is known as urea. So ammonia gets converted to urea by the process of urea cycle. So we'll talk about the urea cycle in bit more details. So urea cycle takes part in the liver, especially in the liver hepatocyte. Inside the liver hepatocyte, a portion of the urea cycle takes place in the mitochondria and portion takes place in the cytoplasm. So in the mitochondria, we have quite a lot of ammonia, which was derived from glutamate by glutamate dehydrogenase, and the reaction is known as deamination, right? Now, from ammonia, carbamoyl phosphate is generated. With the help of the enzyme carbamoyl phosphate synthetase, and in this process, as the name suggests, you need ATP to trigger this process, and ATP is utilized to generate carbamoyl phosphate. Carbamoyl phosphate is the first product of urea cycle. Carbamoyl phosphate combines with another product called ornithine, which is already present in the liver mitochondria. Both of them gets combined and form citrulline, and via several intermediates such as aspartate, arginosuccinate, arginine, it regenerates the ornithine, which is ready for another round of urea cycle. Now the key step in this process is the conversion of arginine to ornithine. When arginine gets converted to ornithine, ornithine is regenerated, but at the same time urea is released. So urea is excreted in this way. So we understood in this video that what is the overview of amino acid catabolism. How does the process of transamination, deamination and urea cycle work? We have also looked at the enzymes which are involved in transamination, deamination and urea cycle. And in this video, we have not talked about urea cycle or transamination process in details. So in other videos, we'll talk about these processes in.
Baik, selesai sudah materi yang sudah dijelaskan kali ini mengenai metabolisme asam amino. Saya, Elsa Suci Okvimida, pamit undur diri. Mohon maaf bila ada salah-salah kata. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.